Welcome to the Kenai Community Library's Maker Monday, and today we are going to be showing how to make an eyeball pillow. And we have some kits with the pieces already cut out and ready for you guys to sew, but if you don't have a kit or if you don't want to come in and pick up a kit, it's okay, you can actually make your own. You can just cut out the circles yourself. I usually use a pattern. So like I cut out a big circle out of cardboard, and then I can trace it on to make my two big circles, and then each circle gets a little bit smaller. So there's two white circles, a kind of colored eye circle, like an iris, and then there's a black circle for the middle for the pupil. And so this is what mine kind of look like. I've got a pattern here. So I've got my two white pieces. Mine's a little creamish, but that's okay. That works really good. And then I've got my green, and then I've got my little black pupil. And included in your kit should be some thread. I've got some thread here. The one thing you won't have if you pick up a kit is you won't have any needles. But if you can ask your parents' permission, and maybe they can lend you a needle, or they can help sew it for you if they don't feel comfortable lending you one. And you can just sew your pillow together. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so there should be some instructions on the Sew Easy Eyeball Pillow, which you guys can follow along with if you want to just take a screenshot there, or feel free to use the one that's included in your pack. So I went ahead and I threaded my needle. So I've got a needle with some thread on it, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start by sewing the smallest circle, the little black one, onto my iris circle, which is the colored one. And so I'm going to go ahead and sew it in and out. And I like to put the knot at the end of my string on the inside where no one will see it. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull that through. And I'm just going to go in and out. And it's okay if you're not super even with your stitches, because these kind of look really cool if there's a little bit of uneven stitching and stuff. It kind of makes it look more Halloween-y. But if you really want some even stitches, you can definitely do that. Also, if you don't want to make an eyeball out of this eyeball pillow, feel free to sew the circles on differently, and then you can just kind of have a bunch of circles on your circle pillow, which is kind of a cool pillow too. So I want to be careful that none of my string gets twisted up with itself, and just slowly pull it through. And I'm going to go ahead and do that all the way around until I'm all finished. All right. So we've gone ahead and I finished putting the stitches on all of it, all the way around. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie off my string on the back. So I can just cut it off here, because I finished my running stitch. And you might have to put a few knots in it to get it to really hold. So I just kind of make a granny knot a couple different times until it's nice and big. Pull it tight, and you will be all set like that. There we go. Now I need to go ahead and sew that onto my white piece. Now I could sew it in the middle like I've done with this other one, where I've sewed him into the middle, but what I think I'm going to do with this one is I think I'm going to sew it a little bit off center, like it's looking at something in the distance. So we're going to sew it a little bit off center like that, and I'll go ahead and sew this guy up too. All right, and so then once you're all finished going all the way around, you can just push it right through to the back side, and then just tie off another knot. All right, splendiferous. So I'm just going to cut my extra strings off a little bit short, like that. Oh, I've got one that escaped here. Let me cut him off really short too. Boop. And then I can just sew this on to this piece over here. And I don't want to sew it all the way up. I'm going to leave about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of space right near wherever I want the top or bottom of my thing to be. And I'm going to sew all the way around, and that way I can stuff it with some stuffing. So let's get sewing. All right, here we go. And I'm going to start with my needle going in between the 2 layers so that you cannot see where my knot is. And that's just because I don't like my knot as much as I like the rest of my pillow. So, and this time I'm going to do kind of a looping stitch around the edges to kind of tie the 2 together. But you could also do the same stitch that you did, the running stitch, as well. So, but I'm just going to do the loopy one. And I just go over and under. So, oh, sorry. So once you've sewn, so you've got like 1 inch, 1.5 inches, I might have closer to 2 inches here, then you're ready to start stuffing it. Your pack should include stuffing, but if you don't, you can get some batting either at a local shop, maybe from a used but unstuffing itself pillow, or you can actually just fill it with things like newspaper or something else, and then it's just kind of not something you can wash, but definitely something that was kind of like fluffed up and filled if you're just using it for like a display. But we're going to go ahead and use some batting. And when you use batting, it's kind of one of those things where it depends on how fluffy you want it. Some people like things a little bit flatter. Some people like them really poofy. So we're just going to stuff it until it looks about as poofy as we like. And so you can tell I haven't tied off my string. If I wanted to, I could tie it off, and then it's a little bit easier to stuff it, but I'm going to leave it attached on there because I think I can just sew it up in one fell swoop at the end. To kind of beat on your pillow a little bit to get it to evenly distribute all the fluff. But once it's fluffed how you like it, you're all set to go. So I'm just going to use just a tad bit more. Just want it a little fluffier on this side. Getting my hand all the way in there, pushing the batting where I want it in my pillow. So there we go. So I kind of like how that is, just a little bit poofy. This is my other one, and he's a little bit stiffer, but I kind of like this little kind of poofy eye. So we have one poofy eye and one not as poofy eye. And then I'm going to go ahead and just finish stitching it up until I get to where my other stitches are at the end. So. So there we have our eyeball pillows. I've got a little green one looking off into the distance, and then I've got my centered blue eye. And these are a lot of fun. We really hope you guys will have fun making your own eyeball pillows. Feel free to come and pick up packets between October 4th and the 8th of October. And we'll have those packets until we run out, so come early and get them so that you too can make eyeball pillows with us. If you don't have any packets left by the time you get there, though, don't forget you can make your own. So we hope to see you guys soon and have a lot of fun. Bye.